Welcome to San Francisco. This is Professor Stanley Kwong of the University of San Francisco. The United States is one of the world's finest university systems with outstanding programs in virtually every single field. USA has the world's largest international student population with over 800,000 students choosing to broaden their education and life experience in the US. Nearly 4% of all the students enrolled in the US are international students, and also there were about 350,000 students from China enrolled in US education institutions. USA also has 5,000 education institutions, but the number one thing all students should verify the school that they're applying to is a certified university and accredited university in the USA. When you continue your study in the US, you are making a choice to broaden not only your education opportunities, but also your cultural experience as well. Passport and student visa. Number one, your passport and student visa is extremely important for your studies in the USA. Among other things, the type of visa you will be receiving will determine whether you have the option to work in the US while you're attending school, or the visa is only for studying in the USA only. So number one, be very careful of the type of visa you receive from the US Embassy. Communications. Always keep in touch with your parents, with your friends, even when you're traveling. Couple of very important accounts is, number one is the WeChat account or Sinnang account that you have in terms of the website. WeChat is used very frequently by students in the USA. And number two, get a local phone number. Your Chinese phone number will work in the USA under roaming, but it's extremely expensive, and there are certain areas that may not work. Travel and accommodation arrangement. Plan ahead before you come to the USA. You need to stay over sometimes in a border city, especially if you're flying to the interior part of the US. You might need to stay in San Francisco or Los Angeles or Chicago overnight. Make sure you have arrangements once you have arrived at the airport. Also, ensure that you have dormitory or apartments ready once you have arrived at school. Healthcare. Healthcare is extremely important in the US. US, the health system, extremely advanced, but yet it's extremely complex in terms of the payment system. The university healthcare advisor should advise you in terms of getting health insurance once you are in the United States. Money matter. Number one, I just want to warn everybody that the USA immigration has a limit of $10,000 cash. Some of the students that have brought more than $10,000 cash will be confiscated right at the border by the US Immigration Office, because you're not allowed to bring in more than $10,000 cash of all denominations to the US. Second, in the USA, unless you are in a border city such as San Francisco or Los Angeles or Chicago, it's very difficult to change your currency, such as renminbi, to the USA currency. Some of the students that arrived in San Francisco with only RMB have found that there's only 3 or 4 places in San Francisco unless you change in the airport. My recommendation is always to change it before you leave China or another country, because you may have a difficulty on changing back into US dollars. Once you have arrived in USA, get organized. Organization meaning that nowadays you can always get an app on your cell phone to list every single meeting, every single advisory consultation hours, and every single consular hours in your advisory, in your app. And you make sure that you fulfill every single appointment, because in the USA, if you miss an appointment, you may need to wait a couple of weeks for the next appointment. So make sure that you organize yourself in knowing the time and also the schedule. Professors in the USA are always very, very welcome to see you. So even though it might not be a appointment that has been made, you can always walk by, and if the professor is not busy, they are always willing to see you. Extracurricular activities are very important in the US. Be active, be part of the student body, join all the activities that you can, get to know more friends, because your job is to try to be the bridge between the country where you're from, such as China, and the USA. And the only way you can do that is specifically joining an organization, join social activities, get to know the local people. And it's very important that all of you need to do that, because when you're applying for graduate school, that will help you in getting into any graduate program. USA is actually a very safe country, but there are also areas in the United States that are not very safe. Always remember, safety is the #1 issue. Some of our students that have gone to California schools has been attacked, robbed, or even murdered because #1, they believe that when there's no one around a street in the evening, that's the safest. Actually, it may not be, because in some area of the city, if it is in the evenings, it may be the most dangerous time. Also, too, the Chinese student, 3 of them were murdered in University of Southern California, one of the top schools in the nation. It's just because people believe that if they are Chinese, they must have money. Now, these are senseless murder that the US government condemns. But yet, in the meantime, Chinese students should be very careful when they're walking around and not carry a lot of cash, and also be aware of where you are. And the last one is honesty. Last year, almost 8,000 students from China were dismissed and being sent back to China because of dishonesty issue, either #1, with the type of tests they have taken in China, such as TOEFL or English tests, or #2, they are copying some papers, or #3, they have copied in an exam. So very, very important. Remember, honesty is the major issue. The last thing I thought that I just want to mention to you is make sure that you obey the laws in the USA, and always be cautious where you're going. Safety is the #1 reason that you need to obey and you need to understand in the US. USA is a safe country, but there are also areas that are not very safe at all. And also remember how to contact your consulate general and your embassy when you are in the USA, and know where the police stations are. Good luck to you in coming to the USA, and also have a nice studying and have a great time in the US. Thank you very much.